everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out. And definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. In December 2019, I was on my knees on my dining room floor. I was hyperventilating. I couldn't catch my breath. I had a police officer squatting next to me, rubbing my back, trying to talk me through it. As the minutes went by, I was getting more and more upset because I couldn't catch my breath. I started to become afraid. Moments earlier, I had witnessed my ex be forcibly removed from our home. I had called the police on him, and when the police got to the house, he wanted to get me arrested. He was trying to get me arrested. He was insisting that I had abused him. When the police wouldn't believe him and they got him out of the house, he had to be forcibly removed with 3 police officers. He had a police officer on either side of him, and then there was somebody following up behind. He was freaking out. He was kicking, screaming, yelling. It was horrifically traumatizing. That is what brought me to my knees. My kids were upstairs, terrified, afraid. They heard all of this. My daughter had mace in her hands. It was a terrible, terrible moment. And this was before I even found out that CPS was about to be involved in my life for 2 months, stemming directly from this lie my ex said. That was trauma. That was fear. That was absolute horror. In today's video, I want to talk about successfully dealing with pain. I know that many of us have wondered, how can we keep going? Why should we keep going? I've known pain my entire life. I grew up in an abusive home, an emotionally abusive home. My father is also a narcissist. He's an overt narcissist. So I grew up with him telling me straight to my face exactly what he thought, and he did not have a lot of good things to say. It seemed to take forever for me to grow up. When I was finally out of high school, I left home and I never went back. When I met my ex, I thought, wow, I made it. I made it when we got married because I thought he was so different from my father. You see, my ex is a covert narcissist. So he did not go, when I was dating him, he wasn't in my face telling me, all these horrible things about myself like my father was. So I thought, wow, my kids are going to have such a better life. They're going to have a happy life. They're going to have a loving home. They're going to love their parents. They're not going to want to run away and get out of the house as soon as they turn 18. I was thrilled for this. I had no idea that I had essentially married my father. The difference being my father is overt and my ex is covert. And a covert narcissist is like a silent cancer. You don't know what's happening. You don't know that they're destroying you until it's way past too late. That's what happens to all of us who are in these situations. So for my kids, I had all these dreams that they were going to have such a great life. But you want to know something? Their life, their childhood has been even worse than my own because I wasn't dealing with the police coming over the house. I wasn't dealing with being interviewed by CPS. I wasn't dealing with having to run for my life in the middle of the night and leave all my friends. That is what happened to my kids because I married a narcissist. So I understand pain. I get it. I know it. I live it. But I want to tell you, when I make these videos, when I tell you things, everything I tell you has really happened. And I have overcome pain. I'm on the other side. And if I can do it, so can you. Now, this started, my journey began in April of 2016. At that point, I stopped being codependent. Now, I'm going to talk about my relationship with God because really this is what got me out. Before I go into it, though, I just want to say I understand that not everybody believes in God. I understand people think, well, if God was there, if he got you out, why didn't he rescue you from even getting into it in the beginning? The reason for that, my belief, I'm not a Bible scholar. This is from my personal relationship with God. He did try to help me. God doesn't force you to do anything. You have free will. And I know free will is debatable, whether that's good or bad. Ultimately, I think it's good. But in some cases, it ends up not being the greatest thing. I think that at the beginning of my relationship, and probably yours too, there were red flags. That's God. What I learned about God, and I didn't grow up with God, so I wasn't always religious. I didn't always have a relationship with God. My family are atheists. We didn't go to church. Like, my brother and I were baptized, and I think that was mainly to please my father's mother, but I didn't grow up with religion. We celebrated Christmas, but it was a gift exchange. It had nothing to do with religion. As I got older, I didn't know anything about God. It wasn't until I was in my 20s that I even first started hearing anything. And even when I was in my 30s, I would have told you. I always would have told you, even when I was a child. I don't know why this is. I would have told you that I believed in God. I didn't have a relationship with him, a real relationship with him, until 2016. And that was when I was delivered from codependence, miraculously. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but now, today, when I look back, I can see exactly when this whole thing started. I knew something had happened at that moment. I knew I was in my bathroom and I was listening to the radio, and something the guy on the radio said changed my life. It was just this little throwaway comment. So if I told you what it was, it would make no sense to you because it was just personal to me. But he said something and it triggered this avalanche of emotion, and that the rest of the summer, so from April until August of that year, 2016, I was going through it. I was dealing with things I hadn't dealt with when I was younger. God put me through this. He put me through this. I know now, to get me to the point where I could free myself from this entanglement with my ex, but it all began then. What I've realized about God is he whispers. He doesn't talk loud. He doesn't force himself on you. He whispers. Now, it took me 4.5 years to leave my relationship once God started whispering to me. But as I listened to him, as I heard him, so many things changed. So if you believe in God, this is your answer. Listen to God, because I don't think that he's there. I know he's there. I'm going to tell you something. When you're with a narcissist, you live in a war. Your life is on the battlefield. You're in between battles all the time. And so many people quit before, as Joe says, your miracle happens. My kids and I really suffered, but I want to tell you something. The greatest pain in my life is the reason I'm smiling today. Pain can be a catalyst. And on the other side of pain is your promise, your triumph, your achievement, your authentic life. Pain can be like a wild animal. If you don't control it, it will control you. It can back you into a corner. So for me, everything changed when I started hearing God. Now, for me, what happened in April of 2016, when God delivered me from codependence, he pushed me into this avalanche of emotion, things I hadn't dealt with before, and that it just washed over me. It was a horrible 4 months. It was like from April to August of that year. It was not a good time. I was living with my ex still at the time too, so I wasn't being codependent. He was starting to fall apart. My whole life was just full of trauma. It was a bad time. But today, I can tell you, it's so much better. It's almost like, I think, I don't know this from personal experience, but you hear about somebody who's a drug addict and they go through withdrawal, and withdrawal is just terrible, horrible, miserable. But once they're through withdrawal, they have this authentic life, a real life, and that is what it is. That's what happened to me. And I realized I started dealing with pain. I started dealing with it. I started working through it. And these were all God whispering. And I didn't even know at the time, but I started listening to it. I started following it for whatever reason. I started following it. Now, if you know God ahead of time, if you don't have to learn over the course of a couple of years, you can do this so much quicker than I can. Listening to what God was telling me changed my life. That was everything. That was everything that happened. I realized that, the bad things that happened to me when I was a child, the things that affected me so deeply, well, when I was a child, I couldn't do anything about it. When I was with my ex and I didn't know what was happening, I couldn't do anything about it. But now that I realized one day, I can actually do something. I'm not helpless. I used to believe my excuses. Oh, I don't have any money. I don't have any friends. I can't do this. I'm just not strong enough. Those were all excuses. When I stopped believing in my excuses and I got up, because that's what it is. Really, when you think about it, and I know it's not quite as simplistic as I'm making it, you just need to get up one more time, then you fall down. Just one more time. When I got up, when whatever it was inside of me, I think it was the Holy Spirit, but whatever it was, maybe it's something else for you, I listened to it and I moved forward. If you think about it, all of us have had moments of depression, bad times, right? When you're leveled, when you're laying in bed, depressed, upset, you feel like you can't get up. But you get up, you do it. There's something in you that you rise. Joe used to laugh at me because when I was in New Hampshire, I used to, if I got depressed, I would go into my bathroom. I never wanted my kids to see me depressed. So between that April and August of 2016, I was in my bathroom an awful lot. I would just go in there. And what I would do is I would let the pain wash over me. I would just feel this pain. I would feel miserable. I would feel like I can't move. I can't function. I can't parent my children today. Everything was I can't. But every single time there was something in me that got me up. I wiped my own tears. I dried my eyes. I went out and I did what I had to do. Whatever it was in me got me up. And that's like it for all of us. You don't lay down and just stay there. All of us have had those moments and we get up. You need to reach that part of yourself that forces you to get up. That inside you already have it. That's your answer. That's the cure. That's how you get out of it. You realize I'm not a victim. I'm going to stop acting like a victim. Because I'm not a victim, I'm going to start acting like a winner. My kids needed me to be a leader. I knew this. It hit me. I needed to be a leader. I couldn't just focus exclusively on my pain. I couldn't focus exclusively on my fears because I had children. There was no me. There was an us. We needed to get through this. We needed to make a difference in our lives. I couldn't be selfish. There's no room for selfishness. It's like that with Joe. It's not my relationship. It's not his relationship. It's our relationship. We are living it's not his life. It's our life. We're raising our children together. Everything is us. That's the secret. You can't be selfish. You must be selfless. That's what you do. You listen to that part of you inside you that's already there, that guides you and directs you. I believe it's God. Maybe you believe it's something else. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, if you listen to that and follow that, everybody has an intuition. And if you realize, okay, I'm not a victim, despite whatever your circumstances are, because I'm going to tell you, it is a miracle that I got out of New Hampshire, a literal miracle. Some of you may know my story. My kids and I packed up our home by ourselves. We told nobody, no one, not one person. We got our stuff together. We left. I got the money miraculously. I got some money. I happened to get some money all of a sudden, unexpectedly. That helped me move. I had chickens in my backyard. I have a breeding business. I don't even, like I'm talking to you right now, I don't know how many snakes I have, over a dozen. I have snakes, I have dogs. I had all these animals. We got them out. When Joe came out to get me. We moved on Christmas. There was a snowstorm. We're driving through a snowstorm. It all worked out. And I wanted to tell you something about my relationship with Joe. My relationship with Joe and I believe, we know that it's God ordained. From the very beginning of our relationship, we felt something. And this goes into me telling you, when you feel an intuition, when you know something, there's something in you that's telling you, wow, there's something about this, go for it. Listening to that brought us together. Listening to that saved us. When Joe and I first started talking, we were both, neither of us had initiated the divorce process. We helped each other do that. We hadn't been with our exes for a long time, just to clear that up. But we were just kind of wandering around. We were just kind of drifting around, not sure what to do. Us coming together got us moving forward. And just like I told you, we're not selfish, we're selfless. We're doing things together. We felt something from the very beginning, from like the first week or two. And I can remember talking about it. The two of us talked about it. Do you feel that? I feel something. It was the strangest thing. This has never happened to me. We listened the whole thing. When Joe came to get me in December, you guys might not know this, I'd only met him 2 times. Now, we did speak on the phone every single day, like literally every day, 4 hours. I knew him thoroughly. But in his physical presence, I was only there twice. Now, each time was for a couple of days, but still, I spent less than a week with him before we moved in together. He came and got me because we felt God was saying this. God was telling us this. We listened to every single thing and we went for it. No matter how crazy it seemed, no matter what anybody said, we did it. And I want to tell you something. That made all the difference in the world. Today, right now, Joe and I are living a really good life. We're in a really good place. Now, we still have things coming up. We both have court dates coming up, but we are in a good place. Our kids, they're doing well because we listened. Now, if we had listened years ago, we never would have been entangled with these people in the first place. I'll tell you this, a couple of things that I know for sure. If God tells you something, believe him. And the other thing is that God is faithful. He is there. Listen for him. Listen to him. He whispers. He will open up doors for you. He will change your life, but he's not going to force you to do it. Everything in your life can be different when you start listening to that voice inside of yourself. All of us can live this way. Remember, happiness exists. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are or where you are. God will open doors for you. God specializes in the impossible. It's man, it's us who says things aren't possible. God specializes in that. Don't let pain stop you. Empower yourself. Empower your family to greatness. Don't be afraid of pain. Use it. Let it motivate you to do the things you need to do. Every single day, get better. Do something to make yourself better every day. Pain isn't the problem. We are the problem, our thought process. When I was still in New Hampshire, I felt God When I was in New Hampshire, I felt God tell me to trust him completely. I did. I started to do exactly what I felt God was telling me, and he saved me. He vindicated me. He will do that for you as well. Listen to that voice. No matter how crazy it sounds, go with it, because nobody will make you better. Nobody will make you whole the way that God can. You can save yourself. You must save yourself. You have your children counting on you, and the strength is in you. Remember, you're not leveled on the floor from something that happened 10 years ago. You eventually got up. Get up with this too, and your life will change. I hope this helps somebody. This really is what happened to me, and this really is what got me motivated. I'm in such a good place now. And I told Joe, I'm like, geez, just because I have a good relationship with God now, it doesn't mean always I will. So this is something I need to feed and nourish every single day, and I'm trying to. Part of what I do with this channel is keep myself, motivated. I have things I want to accomplish. I have things I want my kids to see. I have things that I want for Joe and my relationship. And all of it depends 100% on my relationship with God, his relationship with God, selfless. Except for your relationship with God. Your relationship with God, you can be selfish because that always has to come first. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I will see you all on Friday. God bless.